Yeah. Yeah. Hey. Yeah, apparently Diddy streams are up. It's crazy. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Turn me up. What's good? Mm-hmm. We gonna get into it. Yeah, yeah, Nasty Beat. It's the theme song. I think it's that I made it 8 years ago to use on on this stream. What's good, Boomer? Yeah, I think it's gonna take a little bit of time to get people in here at this time, but I think this time is gonna be better. I think we shall see. We shall see. Like the stream, pump it up in the algorithm, yow. There we go. Sweet. What's on the docket today? All right. Okay. Wait, what happened? Why did it do that? There. Okay. I'm figuring it out. Well, I'm just going to get into it because I think today is just going to be testing out the new time slot. Does this work better, Boomer? You think? You think this works better? I feel like it does, but that's just me. But kind of kick things off. iPhone finally to allow iMessage features with Android users. I don't know how I feel about this. I don't know how I feel about this because now how are we going to know who's an imposter? You know? How are we going to know? Let's read it here. Good news comes from... Wait, is it good? Yeah. Good news comes from the tech bubble today. Apple's latest operating system rolled out their products for iOS 18, bringing a significant improvement for iPhone users who frequently text with Android users, with the addition of RCS, Rich Communication Services support. These chats will now have features like high-resolution media typing indicators and read receipts. See, yeah, now we're gonna know if they leave us on red or not. This is a welcome development, as iMessage conversations have long been superior to SMS-based chats. Yes, while RCS still lacks some features found in iMessage, such as scheduled message and animated text effects, it offers a significant upgrade over traditional SMS. To check if you're in RCS chat, look for the whatever. Yeah, so I again, like, we're not, now everybody's on the same playing field. It's not fair. It's not fair at all. Let's see here. RCS has a significant step forward improving communication. My only thing with reading this article, really, is just the fact that now how are we going to tell, like, who's about it and who's not? Because when you get the green bubble back, are we still going to get the green bubble? Is that, you know what I mean? I want to see, has anyone even tested this out yet? I want to test this out. Because when you're, like, texting someone in the industry and it's like, oh, green bubble, it's like, green bubble. Oh, wait, check out my pumpkins. I got pumpkins. I'm excited. It's fall. We spent like $100 on pumpkins. Let's see here. We're going to move on to the next one. This is all for clips today. All for clips. Oh, wait. Okay. Actually, I do kind of want to talk about this. Hold on. I don't know how many people heard about this. I heard about it at, like, I think during the third day. But it says here, it's from EDM.com. Man drives vehicle through tents, injures 2 at Lost Lanes Music Festival. A 24-year-old man was arrested and charged with aggravated vehicular assault after the incident. Be safe at festivals, y'all. And man, it's like festivals are great, but it's also like a petri dish of liability, right? A man is in custody after allegedly driving his vehicle into a number of tents over the weekend at Ohio's Lost Lands Festival. Noah Curtis, 24, on Sunday, was arrested and charged with aggravated vehicular assault after injuring two people. A man was treated for minor injuries at the scene, while a female victim was transported to a local hospital with a broken hip. Oh my goodness. Broken hip. Could you imagine, like, your hip? I don't think you realize how much you use stuff on your body until until you need it, right? Like, you use your hips all the time for everything. A man was arrested, taken to a local hospital. We're offering any information we can to local authorities. Yeah, I mean, this is... I feel like there's been more updates since this article came out, but let's see. Officials from the Licking County Sheriff's Office crash team are currently investigating the matter further. Taking place annually, Lost Lands happens every year, blah, 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 concluded on the 22nd. Yeah, and with how much attention this festival gets and how much scrutiny these festivals are under, right? I'm surprised of how this is terrible. Don't get me wrong, but the fact that there wasn't these crazy... I feel like festivals lately have been like very sketch in a lot of ways. But that, I don't know. Is that just me? Because like I feel like after 5 days, there's a lot going on in these festivals, right? Let's be honest. And this dude was probably twisted on whatever, and man, I just, this is terrible, man. Like, why? Everyone's here to enjoy music. Why are you going to run people over? I genuinely want to know the story behind this. Not because like it entertains me. I'm just like, what was this dude's problem? You know what I mean? Why? I can't wrap my mind around getting in a car and like trying to run someone over. This is actually a picture from it. So it's like a single cab Ford, it looks like. Okay, so this is an official statement from Lost Lands has been released. Let's see here. To address some concerns that are being discussed on Reddit, we feel it's important to share accurate information. Last night, emergency response teams responded to a car accident in the vendor campgrounds. One person was transported to the hospital. We're also aware of the video posted on Reddit. Okay, this was not related to the crash or whatever. That's crazy, man. I heard about the water gun thing, and, is it, did it look like a real gun? Like, I don't know. The Lost Lands subreddit is going off the rails as a discussion regarding the incident started last night. Per multiple Reddit accounts, an intoxicated driver ran over multiple tents from vendor camping last night, injuring multiple people. Although this story is still in the process for all accurate information, it seems the Lost Lands team is brushing off the accusations and deleting the comments relevant to the situation. That's sketch. Reddit became the primary source of information last night as multiple accounts posted pictures of the event. Late night Saturday, a truck went into a rampage and ran over lots of tents. The main accounts that posted stated Lost Lands security and officials were useless to call 911 and provide any type of assistance to the injured person. Later on, Festival made a post summarizing what we know. Yeah. Why are we deleting comments, guys? Why are we deleting comments? Like, that isn't... that just makes it look really bad, you know. This developing story, yeah, and I really haven't seen too much like movement on this, except for like the Instagram posts and stuff. So yeah, guys, be careful at festivals. Just go enjoy yourself, have a good time. It's a music festival. You know, enjoy your time with your friends. Don't go taking your personal, you know, spiritual baggage to a music festival. You're there to release that stuff, right? So yeah, just be careful out there, man. Let's see. I thought this was weird. TikTok is shutting down its music streaming platform. I didn't even know TikTok had a music streaming platform. Has anybody even heard of this? Because I haven't. TikTok has plans to close its music streaming platform, TikTok Music. TikTok's parent company, ByteDance, will officially take TikTok Music offline and permanently delete its consumer data on November 28th. Originally called Resso, the app launched back in 2019 to compete with Spotify, Apple Music, and other platforms. The streaming service was only available to users in select countries, including Brazil, Mexico, Australia. Oh, not accessible to users in the U.S. Okay, that makes sense. Why I haven't heard of it. When visiting TikTok's music site, users are presented with two deadlines. Subscribers will have until October 28th to transfer their playlist to another platform. Let's see. Billboard now plans to shift its priorities to add to the music app functionality, according to users saving songs from TikTok directly to streaming services. And that function is only available to users to more than 150 countries, including users in the US and UK. So yeah, again, like, I don't see why this is even worthy of writing an article about, personally. I just wanted to kind of talk about it to really see, like, does anyone even know about TikTok music? Because I definitely have never heard of it, never used it, never once. So yeah, we're just blowing through it today. This is cool. Hold on. Yeah, this is tight. The BBC Sound Effects Archive now has over 33,000 free samples ready to download. The samples can't be used for commercial purposes, but can be used for research, education, and personal projects. Ever wanted to experience the roar of a crowd in 1989 FIFA Cup final, or perhaps immerse yourself in the sound of an African market? What about simply going on a muddy walk or creeping close to a pack of grunting reindeer? Well, you're in luck. With over 33,000 samples to offer, the BBC Sound Effects Archive may have the sound you're itching for. While BBC's Sound Effects Archive opened in 2018, its library has more than doubled in the last 6 years. The selection spans from the sounds of hands being washed in a bucket to croaking frogs to crackle and chatter around a bonfire. Sample dates back to the 1920s, with the earliest sounds being gas engines, chiming clocks, and whirring sewing machines. So you can't use it for anything? That sucks. The entire library is free to download, but you can't use any of the sounds on music you plan to sell. Each archival sound has a non-commercial Remark license, meaning you can't legally use any of the samples for profit. Okay. Well, define profit, right? Because you don't make any money on Spotify, like relative to the amount of traffic it generates. If you're just experimenting in the studio or using it for a personal project, it's fair game. And the site even has its own mixer mode, and you can build your own soundscapes without having to download anything. Now, if you twist these samples up enough or distort them enough, right? Are we good then? You know? If anybody knows a lawyer, ask them. I'm going to try to ask around about that. The Remark license aims to aid with research and education alongside personal projects. Tracks have also been shared specifically with dementia research in the mind. The Remark short for Remnants Archive was designated to assist those with dementia by stimulating their long-term memory with material from the past. That's crazy. So they have this bank of sounds that helps people with dementia and like trigger that time in the past. That's nuts. What if you're someone with dementia that has never heard those sounds? If you're, like, since this can't be commercially used, right, and it's used for research, which again, I think like if you twist the sample up enough, you could probably be okay. But yeah, we'll see about that. In a BBC article exploring the broadcaster's sampling history, Radio 4's Andrew Partington notes the importance of immersive sound design. It's very easy to underestimate the importance of sound effects because very often they're going to an almost subconscious level behind the scene where someone's making up a cup of tea, but take them away and you realize how important they were. In the BBC's 1931 yearbook notes that it would be a great mistake to think of sound effects as analogous to punctuation marks and accents in print. A strong archive of sound effects is the bricks which to build any sonic world. Thus, they should be considered as with equal care as speech in music. Yeah, and again, I just wonder, like, can you give this to some crazy dubstep kid and make it something else? I get that it's like Foley and stuff like that, so there's not too much like you can do with it commercially, which I can appreciate given that it's used to help people with a disease, with a sickness. But yeah, you can kind of make a sound anything, right? Like you can take white noise or a sine wave and like make an entire song if you know what you're doing enough. Okay, on to the next one. Speaking of sample libraries, sample libraries are here to stay. So why do some producers still find their use illegitimate? Used by Sabrina Carpenter and Fred Again, among many others, platforms like Splice are proving valuable resource for artists of all calibers. Why do some think it is cutting corners? When Afrojack discovered that Fred Again had used a Splice sample on a sample pack on 10, a track from his newly released album 10 Days, he found it disappointing, he recalled in a recent interview. While Afrojack was quick to acknowledge Fred Again's talent, his comments illuminate a viewpoint still held by more traditional DJs and producers using pre-made Splice samples as loops is cheating. According to such purists, everything from synth sounds to samples should be created from the ground up for recording to be authentic. And I feel like I used to be in this boat, but when it comes to like producing music commercially and you're trying to like have a career of making music and all that, and there's just a time factor that goes into that when the pace of music that's being released is so high. It's such a fast pace that new music comes out and just gets overlooked and all this stuff, right? So yeah, I can see, because I used to be in that boat where it's like, oh, you got to make everything yourself. I can see his point, but also at the same time, it's like Fred Again just used like a melody, or like it wasn't anything crazy. And then the Sabrina Carpenter sample is from that's what these sample packs are for, right? The Sabrina Carpenter sample is from an Oliver Power Tools pack. I think Power Tools 3, right? You can go and find her espresso loop in that pack. And all right, let's keep going. It calls to mind that quote about skinning your goat to make a snare drum. But it's true that stacking a bunch of pre-made loops and samples on top of each other without any original elements is difficult to pass off as your composition. That's kind of where the boat I'm in. But does interspersing your creations with splice samples really delegitimize or subtract from the final product? See, that's what I don't think. It's like, if you've made 85% of the things, have I heard the new Fred Again album? No, I haven't. I've heard that one song, this one here. I'm not going to play it because I don't want to get copyright. Trying to get to 1,000 followers, make some money, okay? But yeah, I haven't heard the entire album, but I have heard that song and the sample that he's talking about, and it's like, chill out, Afrojack. You know what I mean? Like, don't be a purist now. You know? What's good, everyone? Thanks for flowing in. Appreciate y'all. Hit the like on the stream. I'm trying to like bump this up. I'm gonna be doing it at 4 p.m. on Mondays from now on. So we're talking about how splice samples, how there's like a big divide between producers and whatnot using splice samples. And it's like, again, if you ever need a co-host, let me, dude, I would love to have a co-host. I feel like that would be, we could definitely figure that out like on Zoom or something. Yeah. And like, I'm trying to push this again, we're just talking about, industry news, tech, like all that different kind of stuff. So, all the stuff I'm really interested in, I'm just like kind of monologuing the whole time, interacting with the chat. So, yeah, bro, hit me up, dude. I would love to figure that out. But yeah, it's like, Afrojack, don't bring your purist intentions and purist mindset out now, you know? And it's like, what are you even up to, Afrojack? We have tools to speed up the production process. So by choosing not to use them in pursuit of an often esoteric notion of authenticity, producers risk falling behind. Exactly what I was saying. By shunning sample packs as an idea altogether, they might miss out on an opportunity to inject a track with that little bit of magic it takes to make a hit. And that's kind of where I feel like it's like, if you're using effects, you know, risers, you know, vocal samples, maybe not like straight up like feature vocals, but like hype vocals. Yeah, bro, hit me up on Instagram. I'll be happy to join in and figure something out. I think the new album is a great example of creative intent, even if is using splice samples. So yeah, and that's exactly what I'm saying. It's like, it's not like he made the entire song with loops and splice samples, you know, but it's like he made an original composition, and it's like, if a melody, not, I'll use splice samples like a good amount, but it's typically more background, one shot effects, you know, vocals, things like that, or like fill vocals and things like that. But really it's like, you know, every now and then there's like a melody that I'm like, oh, that's cool. You know, I wouldn't have been able to make it on my own. So I don't think someone taking a bunch of unedited splice loops, putting it at a certain tempo and all that, but it's like, you can have a really good starting point and twist it and move it on. Again, like if I hear a dry splice loop, I'm kind of like, come on, come on, you know. But also at the same time, it's like they use that in a way that I probably wouldn't have. And that's the cool thing about the sample libraries, is everybody has their own interpretation of the samples. I think they talk about the Sabrina Carpenter one here. Does it say which? Yeah. Yeah, Oliver put out Power Tools Sample Pack 3, and this is the name of the sample that they used in that song. If you have Oliver Power Tools, or if you have Splice or whatever, you can go and find this. When I read this, I went and found it, and I'm like, no, and it's just the guitar part. That's a thing. I'm sure they go into this later. It's like, it's just the right, but it's they made a new bass line, they wrote lyrics, they made melodies, they added synths, like they made the drum beat and all that. Like they did all the work, but it's like this one little like rhythm guitar part. It's like, that's not a big deal to me, right? Or like using a melody or a splice loop or something. It's like, I don't know. and it, like kind of like it says here, it's like if it complements your project and you've paid for it, why not use it? And that's another thing. It's like it's there to be used. You have the license to use it. But this makes me want to go listen to Gavin asks quote of the day. Quote of the day. Um, hmm. Consistency in anything will take you further than forcing greatness. If you're trying to, like, I think like with music production specifically, some people think they can just get good really quick, and it's more like if you just get consistent and you're producing a little bit, right? Or you're working at video. I did this with video editing. I didn't know how to edit videos, but now after being consistent with just learning it and, putting a certain amount of time to it when I can, like now I'm getting hired as a videographer, shooting videos for apartments and lifestyle videos and stuff. But it wasn't like I just, I'm going to do this and right. So it's like, if you're consistent with your application, you're going to go much further and you're probably going to be better than you were just trying to like sprint to greatness. How's that, Gavin? Is that good? Let's see. Splice tells music tech samples. And as Splice tells music tech, sample libraries are helping close the proficiency gap between more skilled and less skilled producers. There will always be producers with more technical skill than others, but why would anyone gatekeep creativity? Yeah, and it's like if these producers want to make a pack of stuff they're never going to use or that's already been used and they want to make royalty free, get your bag. Get your bag, I genuinely don't see anything wrong with using splice samples. Again, I think there's a degree of creativity that, you need to use it in context and it makes sense. But I think if you're just stacking up a bunch of samples that you've accumulated, and releasing it as an original composition, you're dancing on the line of kind of not inauthentic, but it's like not creative. There's creative ways to use samples, but I think it's in the midst of creating your own material and then adding in these spices, right, of things that maybe you wouldn't have been able to achieve or think of on your own, because you can click through a bunch of samples and get all these different melody ideas and, chords and all the stuff that you're like, I've never even heard chords made like that, and you can use one little chunk of a 2-minute sample or a 30-second sample or something, just to fill that one little thing your song needs, right? And that's kind of how I believe using samples should be done, is like if you have, the sample's 10 seconds long, like there should be like a couple quarter notes or, it's rare that I'm using like a straight up loop, unless it's like a shaker loop, right? Or a tambourine loop or something. But with melodies and stuff, it's usually not where I use samples for. It's more like background effects and stuff like that. So like if you produce, like, do you use splice samples or what's the other one? Loop Cloud, the Loop Masters one. I don't see any issue with it, but that's just me. And that's because I use them. But not to a degree where it's like, oh no, this is all splice samples. I feel like that's just like, as a producer, a little bit lazy. That's just me though. Let's see. This is ridiculous here. So I'm sure everybody knows what's going on with the Diddy stuff, right? Rapper Diddy streams through the roof after abuse allegations. Why does this happen? Vamps on the previous article, he says, Vamps, yeah, bass stacked samples are hella mid, but using extract grooves or getting cutting and flipping things, I think is fair game, especially with how lame copyright laws are. Yeah, 100%, bro. Like, take the sample and make it your own. Like, typically, I don't favor just dragging and dropping a sample, into it, like throws some EQ on it, like puts some echo on it, pitch it up, pitch it down, put it in key with your song, like whatever. Um, but yeah, no, I highly agree, Vamps. All right, yeah, so on here to this next one. Why does this happen? Why does someone who's and I feel like what this is a bunch of younger people who have never listened to Diddy's music or maybe don't know why he's famous, and they're like going through and listening to his music, because I think as an adult, 30 and above at least, right? Like I'm pretty aware of his presence in the music industry, not like to this degree, but I've heard the Diddy songs and it's like whatever. But I feel like there's a bunch of maybe 20-year-olds that just aren't familiar with what he's done, why he is the way he is. I've seen a ton of YouTube videos like coming out, like covering his history and things like that. But yeah, I don't understand why this happens. But I also do understand why it happens. You hear some like shocking stuff about a person or whatever, and then you're like, what are they? Who is that? Right? They're really just finding out he's terrible at rapping. Yeah, exactly right. Rapper Sean Diddy Combs has been the subject of recent controversy due to serious allegations against him. Despite these accusations, in fact, one could argue due to these accusations, his music streaming numbers have seen a significant increase ever since arrest, right? Who was listening to Diddy before all this stuff came out, And it's like when people get canceled, I feel like, especially if you're like a DJ, DJing shows and, what am I saying? Like DJing clubs and stuff, like when the R. Kelly stuff happened, if you played an R. Kelly track, like, you're brave. You're brave. I was DJing a lot of clubs at the time when that happened. And I heard a DJ play it, and they literally, like, went up to him. They're like, next song, bro. No, bro. No, you can't do that. It's like, ooh. Like, you got to stay on top of that stuff as a DJ, I would highly recommend any DJs who are, like, full-time DJing or DJing on the weekends at clubs and stuff, don't play P. Diddy's music. Don't do it. It's not even good to begin with, but it's also like save yourself the faux pas, if you will. Many people have shown increase in Diddy's music, likely driven by curiosity and a desire to understand who the artist on the news is. The allegations against him have sparked discussion and debates, leading to a surge in his online presence. It's a notable phenomenon that, despite negative publicity surrounding Diddy, his music has gained popularity. This could be attributed to several factors, including the public's fascination with celebrity scandals and the enduring appeal of his music. That's an overstatement. But can you play "Looking at Me" by Mace? Right, play Beyonce. But yeah, I just think there's like so much better music out there, right? Let's see, let's keep going. Since his arrest, almost 18.3% more people have streamed his music than a week earlier. Sean Combs has several aliases, including Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, and in addition to Diddy, and his music analytics show all of these have increased after the incident. As more details about this case emerges, it remains to see how this will impact Diddy's career. It doesn't really remain to see. Like, is that really to be seen? Like, his career is over. What's good, Lucas? I didn't even see that was you that made the comment there. What's good, man? Yeah, like, his career is over. There's no remains to be seen. You're done, bro. Even if, like, he doesn't go to jail or, like, get a prison sentence or whatever, which he will, for sure. There's so much against him. Decades and decades and decades of evidence and claims and accusations and, blackmail and under-the-table shit. Like, yeah. Such a bad look for a DJ to be playing P. Diddy right now. So, I think it's just one of those things where it's like, it's probably people who don't know his music and are just curious, like, what does this fool even sound like? Why is he's more of like a label mogul and like a an industry executive than he is an artist. I don't know that he's like genuinely created anything by himself. He got his like he came up like working close with labels. Hope you're good up in North Carolina. Yeah, Diddy's done culture now. 50 Cent just sold the documentary he's been working on for like 10 years. That dude's a savage. That dude's a savage, man. Did y'all see the picture that it was like on his Instagram, and it was like let me see if I can find it. 50 Cent Diddy bike picture. It's like 50 Cent on a on a bike, and or it's P Diddy on a bike, and he's like, there's no, yeah, right here. Is this, yeah, here we go. It's P Diddy on a bike, and he's like, there's no seat on that bike, right? Like, he's a savage, bro. He ruins people's careers like for fun. Yeah, he had ghostwriters on most songs. Yeah, of course. Of course. Where's the divide though? Like, if you play Biggie tracks producer featured with Diddy, not that I support like him, but where do you draw the line? I mean, I feel like as producers, we could just make an edit without his part in it. But that being said, all the really popular Biggie songs don't have P Diddy on them. I think that's okay. Um, You know what I mean? Like, I think just don't play those Biggie songs. Just like don't play songs featuring R. Kelly or anything like that. That's just me. Like, if I was still DJing clubs like that, I would, if someone was begging for this song, I would probably make them pay me to play a Diddy song, or, remix to Ignition or something. Because this just cannot, I'm not going to be caught and blasted on the internet for playing this song, like, oh, this DJ sucks, he supports like, and I don't, like, I don't even like any of his music, but at least I can back it up and say, like, yeah, he paid me $100, he literally paid me $100 to play that song. But yeah, I think like where the line is just we don't need to feature him in any way. So just play other Biggie Smalls songs. That's just me. There's so many really, really good ones. But there's so many things that he's touched and he was involved with that are classics. It's like, I think it's like, as long as he's not like a front facing figure on the track, like the common knowledge is not that he was involved with the track, probably all right. But I'm glad I'm not DJing clubs through all of this controversy stuff right now. Appreciate y'all joining in the chat and stuff. I'm doing this at 4 p.m. On Mondays now. From now on, I think it's a little bit better time with the West Coast and Central Time and stuff. So, plus I don't have to like do it first thing during the day, so it's better for me too. Oh wait, I don't know if y'all were in here for this, but I got pumpkins. I got pumpkins. We spent like $100 on pumpkins over the weekend, and low-key, the pumpkins out here are fat. I don't know if they're like that everywhere, but we have so many on our porch. It's crazy. My wife loves pumpkins, guys. It's that time of year, y'all. Yeah, be sure to like the stream. Subscribe if y'all aren't subscribed. I'm pretty sure everyone in here already is. But yeah, I'm definitely trying to build this stream up, continue it, and we're doing studio stream tomorrow night. Vamps says, makes sense. If we were playing songs not touched by pedos or freaks, then we've got like 2 available songs to play. I used to live in Hollywood. There's a reason I don't make hip hop anymore. Yeah, man, it's a dicey game to not just that side of the industry, and yeah, exactly. Like if we were to like, analyze everyone's character of everyone who's ever worked on a song, it's like that doesn't diminish the quality of something, Um, he says, of course, great topics. And oh man, they have hella pumpkin patches in North Carolina. I'll wait at the next one and tell some producer peeps. Hey man, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Yeah, and like this is just a steady. I just like to chat and talk, and if we get Vamps co-hosting with me, we'll get a little bit of hype on it and stuff. Let's see, I've got one or two or three more, I think. This one was cool. I really only read the headline. Study proves EDM is a lifeline for mental health. And I can personally attest to this, right? A new study has revealed that dance music has a unique ability to improve mental health. Fans of EDM and healthcare professionals both have recognized the uplifting impact. Excuse me. From a personal standpoint, I could not agree with this more. I found that dance music always brings joy to my day and has pulled me out of ruts. The I in this situation is Drew Barkin, who wrote this article. The study proved that EDM is therapy and provides emotional needs to its listeners. Conducted by the team behind Tibra's The Intake platform, a comprehensive online resource designed to help independent healthcare practices. The study analyzed over 68,000 Spotify tracks and surveyed more than 1,000 people to explore how music supports mental well-being. The findings revealed more than 1 in 10 respondents identified as to their go-to genre when feeling depressed, right? And what kind of EDM are we talking about here, right? Are we talking about like iTunes EDM, which is like, not a bad thing, just like the Avicii, the Zed, like all that Tiesto, that kind of stuff? Because I don't think it's sudden death, right? Lovers of the genre often view the genre as a release valve for built-up tension, whether for the electrifying energy of the rave or the soothing calm of a chill electronic streaming session. EDM provides a distant mix of escapism and a community that other genres can't match, 1,000%. About 43% of EDM fans reported being in good mental health, and nearly 8 in 10 people surveyed overall said they've used music in general to pull themselves out of a dark time. And I've definitely, EDM, personally, it's very select few like records and albums that have like I've attached part of my life journey to, right? But a ton of music has pulled me out of dark times. I have lyrics from my favorite band tattooed on my arm because it was like I, gone through some heavy stuff in life, and the line in the song is not broke, just bent, right? And like just knowing that my life experiences were shaping me in a certain way, but not breaking me, right? The healthcare professionals also back these claims. About 1 in 3 healthcare professionals think EDM is the best genre for improving mental health, study says. I think it's lovely that mental health is continuing to be talked about more and more. And I definitely agree. The mental health side of this industry has become a more sexy topic. We'll just say that. In the sense that it's like you're seeing more and more established people talk about their journey. I recently made a post in one of the live streams a couple weeks ago, like talked about my past issues with addiction and struggles with that. And, I was addicted to Coke and Adderall for years, and I can gladly say I'm like 2+ years off of those things. But that crap controlled my life for years, and I didn't realize it, and I was spiraling, right? And music really was the driving force that got me off of those things, not only for my career, but I dove into a lot of artists that I know have struggled with that and related to whatever lyrics they're singing or rapping or whatever. But it's a heavy thing, and I'm glad it's coming more to the forefront, because it inspired me. Virtual Riot's whole thing on his addiction inspired me to like, I could talk about this. And not only because he did it, but seeing how he did it, and I just related so much to it. It's like, yeah, I really had to like rediscover myself creatively after all that. and I started my entire music career not on drugs, right? Um, why was it so daunting for me to not be on drugs and continue my music journey, right? Um, so, but I'm curious, if they separated by genre for this for this survey, I guess, right? Because you know, um, let's see. Vamp says the other reason I quit making hip hop and switched to dance music is for this reason: the culture of hip hop is so degenerate and negative, and people who like dance music are always cool. Yeah, man. And it's like a higher chance that you're gonna meet someone who, regardless of what they're doing, is gonna support what you're doing because it's like you're making dance music, or you're in the community. It's a lot less um, peer pressure in that sense, where it's like you got to be a part of what everyone's doing. The whole idea of EDM is like people just go and do whatever the fuck they want, and everybody's there enjoying themselves, just enjoying music, regardless of your method of doing that. And that includes being sober, right? And on the producer side, I think, there's a strong backbone of in the community of like sober producers and people not necessarily like, oh, you should be sober, but just like wearing their sobriety on their sleeve, which I've come to slowly start to do myself, um, and the party drugs, they're very, I think, like back in the day when I first started producing and like playing shows and things like that, it was kind of this like unspoken like, oh, you don't party, you know? But it slowly moved away from that the more serious like that I got with producing music. And the people who are super serious about their careers, they're not all twisted up on this shit all the time. Um, Lucas says, congrats on that. I think sharing your story helps a lot of people, and I agree. A lot of electronic songs I listen to are over like 10 years old, and they're still emotional, inspiring. Nonchalant, what's good, bro? How you doing, Austin? Um, yeah, and so this idea of mental health being a topic in the electronic music community, I think is a big deal, and the fact that there's like dedicated nerds to proving that it helps improves people's outlook on life. I definitely think I would be a much more, um, I'll just say this. Porter Robinson's World's album impacted me in a way that, like, truly inspired me to keep going, and just, like, the limits of what I'm capable of are, like, not visible. Hey, daddy. What's good? Yeah, it's like, it's one of those things where I think everybody has those songs, like Lucas is saying, like that just impacted you in a way that you have that emotional attachment to them, or the emotions are very like present in the song. Another song for me back in the day was Strangers by Seven Lions. That was like, dude, I cried to that song so many times. I say so, it was like two or three, but like I can distinctly remember moments where I'm like, oh my goodness, this song is so good. Just shows that EDM is growing more and more than just boots and cats or something to party to. Yeah, no, it's a lifestyle. It's a lifeline, as this article is saying. Um, and I'm really excited that I feel like having studies done like this legitimize the genre in a way, and also acknowledges the wide span that this genre casts. You know what I mean? Like EDM, that's kind of what I was saying earlier. It's like, what do you mean by EDM? Because, more likely than not, it's not going to be like the headbanger stuff. Like, yes, that's a release, right? But like when people are down in a rut and they need to connect to something, maybe it is Yink Yonks, but it's probably a very small percentage of people that turn to Yink Yonks for emotional healing, right? EDM is the only music that makes me cry too. Yeah, I'm honestly, I'm a little bit the opposite. I'll be honest. Something about bands and more I guess like I don't want to say traditional, but like rock music or like what is it? Like Band of Horses and they're kind of a little bit electronic, I guess, but combining with this topic with the last what if what if a song has impacted you positively so much that you love it, but the producer has allegations based nectar? Ooh, good question. Um, I think the impact that music has on a individual, right? I'm just talking song to person. Like, let's not talk about. Hi, babe. That's my wife in the chat. Everyone say hi. I think talking about a song to an individual. I have students that I teach, and they're still like, man, that Bass Nectar song or whatever. I'm just like, I don't judge them for it because you can't change the way something has impacted somebody, right? And I don't, and again, I think glorifying the artist and acknowledging that artist's impact on an individual are two very different things, right? And taking, you know, again, I think continuing to put someone who has proven themselves to be a shitty person, I'll just say it like that, and treats the common person or the people around them, with no respect or no regard for others, right? Kind of like I was saying earlier, it's like it doesn't diminish like the P. Diddy thing, right? That doesn't mean he wasn't involved in making hits or songs that truly impacted people. You know what I mean? But that's just me. I don't think like, as long as you're not like, I love Bass Nectar still, you can still say like, man, that Bass Nectar song changed my life. I think those are two separate things. And if you're, for whatever reason, worried about, any backlash on that, like, I think there's still like wiggle room there for you to argue. It's like, I don't support Bass Nectar, but that song saved my life. Right. And I think I guess I'm fortunate enough to never really, I wasn't really into Bass Nectar. He had that speaker box song that I really liked, but it's that people got Bass Nectar tattoos, you know? I I just I don't know. There's been bands that I've liked, and their lead singer went through, like Dance Gavin Dance. Their old lead singer went through some stuff, but like that doesn't make everything Dance Gavin Dance did not good. You know, in fact, everything they've done is actually really good, and I still like the music that they put out with that lead singer, right? But I don't sit there and support the lead singer. Lucas says, for sure, two separate things. I can respect that, but honestly, I can't listen to Nectar in the back of my mind. I'm like, yeah. See, I never listened to Bass Nectar, so I wasn't, I was never drawn to like check him out after that, because he never caught my attention in the first place as far as like, what I was into, music production. But yeah, when my students tell me they're like, oh, this Bass Nectar song saved my life, it's, there's a part of me that's like, well, okay, that's fine. That can happen. That can be okay. So the effect of something on someone, does not necessarily immediately correlate to they still fuck with this person, And I think people who automatically assume that are just like, they're in that goldfish brain stage where there are some underlying things why people would just make that conclusion underlying to the person that would make that conclusion. But yeah, I mean, like, EDM is one of those things where it's like, it saved my life. You know what I mean? It's provided me a career and a network and a community of people that I never ever would have come into touch with or been involved with otherwise, right? And the artists that make the songs that shape our musical journey, right? You can't change the impact that something has on you. You just can't. But we all grow, things change, right? But I think tying into the Diddy question, right? It's like no one was ever like, P. Diddy saved my life. P. Diddy. I love P. Diddy. Never once. I also think the music is less personal in a way when it's a producer versus a rapper. Seeing as the rap portion of a track is like 50% of it, and it's based around their personality. Yeah, for sure. And I think like musical lyrics, I personally like when it comes to like an emotional connection to music, like the voice, a human voice, something saying something or whatever. Like uh, EDM is like a lot of just vibes and feeling and like acknowledging good music and stuff. But like the stuff I really connect to is when there's a singer that is like a wordsmith, right? Um, I'm making Diddy Save My Life shirts. You're a troll. You're a troll. I love it. But yeah, I think for me personally, but I still get my musical escape through doing like aggressive electronic music, and that's the stuff that I'm like so hyped about. You know what I mean? But when it comes to like an emotional um, situation, I tend to connect with more music that has lyrics, and I think that's normal for everyone. But I think with the music I make, I try to do a little bit of both. You know, I'm always trying to find that line where it's like, am I just making a banger, or am I trying to like really connect with something on this song? And there's a couple songs on my upcoming EP that I feel like are very, like there's like 2 or 3 bangers, and then there's like there's 2 songs that I'm like emotionally connected to, and I think you can hear the difference. Okay, let's see. I'm not gonna. Did y'all hear about the Firefest 2 thing? Like, I have this article pulled up on it, but it's like 2 paragraphs long, and it's just like, it's whatever. So we're gonna skip to this last one. This is more of a tech thing, but I'm very interested in these headphones because I saw a pair at Best Buy, and I was like, those look interesting. So from Music Tech, it says Marshall's Monitor 3 headphones are rivaling Sony, Bose, and Apple and Sennheiser. The iconic Amp brand's new flagship headphones broadcast ANC, which is noise canceling, 70 hours of battery life, the Marshall signature sound, and endorsement from Green Day's Billy Joe Armstrong. Is it enough to come out on top? Has anybody tried these headphones? I'm curious because I've been seeing more people walking around with them and stuff, and I might go try, just like test them out. Marshall, the UK-based brand renowned for its iconic guitar amps, has released its latest flagship headphones, the Monitor 3. These pack active noise canceling with a whopping 70 hours of battery life. Yep. Signature sound, spatial audio. However, Monitor 3's price tag puts them up against some stiff competition from the likes of Apple, Sony, Bose, and Sennheiser. So maybe Green Day's Billy Joe Armstrong can amp up the launch. On paper, the Monitor 3 headphones are pretty impressive and will likely appeal to many fans of Marshall amps. Some features, however, can make them attractive options for producers and DJs. Lucas said, my dad sent me these, but I haven't tried them yet. Well, apparently they're pretty good. I didn't realize they had like all the noise canceling and the spatial audio, kind of like the bells and whistles of, typical, earbuds or the Apple stuff. The rugged all-black design speaks to Marshall's long-standing aesthetic with a self-healing leather texture and the unmistakable brass logo. Sent you a link to them. I see. I'm like in the neighborhood where it's like I want to like hear headphones. I want to test them out next to what I'm used to before I go and spend. I think they're like $300 or something. Let's see. It says for any DJs looking for headphones, the Monitor 3s could prove useful with swiveling ear cups that can be easily moved to hear the outside world. For everyone else, they'll likely be most useful for the folding up the phones and placing them into accompanying case. And the case is also very rock and roll. Hell yeah. Durable, hard shell, and lined with crimson velvet on the inside. You can just imagine artists like Slash donning these for that case alone. I may have to run to Best Buy now. Yeah, I should have tried them. I should have tried them while I was there. You'll be able to carry them around with you in that case for a while before charging them. 70 hours of battery life, and 100 hours of battery life with no noise canceling. Battery life is more than double of the Sony headphones and the Bose headphones. Excuse me. Although we'll be putting the monitor to the test and review soon, I'm going to be looking forward to hearing this review. Speaking of noise canceling, Marshall claims that it's a significant upgrade from its previous model, the Monitor 2. That's thanks to continuous measurement of ambient noise to block out unwanted sounds. I think that was a typo. It'll almost feel like only you and your favorite musician in the room. A transparency mode will thankfully get those musicians out of the room when you want to hear what's going on around you. So yeah, it seems like it's got all the Apple features. That's kind of like becoming a thing. Built-in spatial audio capabilities will also give you more immersive listening experience, which is what Marshall calls soundstage. This is comparable with all spatial audio formats such as Dolby Atmos, Apple Music, and Sony's 360 reality audio. Again, you can toggle this on and off for your choosing. Does anybody use spatial audio? Like if you have AirPods or the Apple Pros or whatever, I don't use them. Personally, it throws me off. Like I love music just locked in, left and right, how it came out of the recording box. Like, the spatial audio. I think if the mix, like I think what was it? The Flaming Lips, they like will produce their albums in surround sound. That could be something I would like maybe use it for. Or maybe I think Skrillex has put out some music in spatial audio version. But like the only time I'll do something like that is like you can hook the Apple headphones up to an Apple TV and I'll put that on so that like if I'm moving around or something, like my TV is always over here and the headphones kind of reflect that. But I don't use the spatial audio like ever. I feel like I don't want the mix to like rotate around my head just because I'm like turning my head like this or like the Axis audio or whatever. Let's see here. The Marshall Monitor 3's sound in general is happily customizable. They sport the Marshall signature sound with the dynamic loudness, which may please many of Marshall's biggest fans, but a companion app will allow you to tweak the sound to your personal liking. The 32mm drivers have a sensitivity of 91.7 decibels. Sound SPL means sound pressure level, and an impedance of 35 ohms, and can reproduce the sound from 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz. Lucas says, I feel like it's cool in a really, really good studio or home theater. Headphones, I think it's hard to actually hear where the sounds are coming from other than left or right. Yeah, it's kind of like, I don't think they've like nailed it down to like give you that 360 illusion. Especially if you have like, if you're a producer and your ears are a little more adapted to like paying attention to those things, you're kind of like, well, this is kind of almost, it's still cool. I mean, I think it's dope, but it's not something that I'm just like, oh, that's my default mode ever. And frequency range from 20 to 20,000. That is just the normal range of human hearing. So this frequency range doesn't necessarily like super impress me, but it is that's normal, right? And if these are just they're trying to go with the consumer grade headphones. This would be great for DJing. I wouldn't use these in the studio just based on this alone. Like these, I think go up to 40K. Yes, we can't hear 40K, but your brain will still detect maybe sounds that you can't hear, right? Giving you a kind of perspective on the sound that you can't get when there's just a hard cut at 20K. Right, and then like MP3 files cut off at 18K. Like most people can't even hear 18 to 20K, right? You got to have brand new ears or very, very sensitive trained ears. Like I can't necessarily hear around 20K, but I can feel the pressure in my ear. And that's like what I'm able to like dial into. I don't physically hear a frequency at such a high frequency, 20,000 hertz. That's a lot. Or I mean, that's very, very high. But I can feel the pressure that it makes on my ear, right? So that's a little bit different than physically hearing something. But because of this frequency range right here, I think the whole DJ comment that, it would be good for DJs is great. This could be good for like on the go production as well. But if you're looking for like the higher quality headphones, bigger drivers, and wider frequency ranges is going to be what you want to go for. You can toggle the sound profile with the M button on the headphones, which is sat above the knob, opposite the noise control. Okay, just telling us about it. You can use them Bluetooth. Cool. So yeah, like if your Marshall includes USB-C to aux cable in the box. USB-C to aux cable, that's more of that needs to go around. I would use that. $350. They're available now for $350. So that's cheaper than AirPod Maxes. I think the new AirPod Pros are probably going to be that much. And I think these are really good competitive headphones. I mean, that's just me. Lucas says, if you're like mixing a song with headphones, yeah, spatial is hard to work with, at least for me. It's super interesting. I don't think in a production environment, unless you have like the surround setup to provide the awareness of what spatial audio does, like it's going to throw it off. You know what I mean? Because it's really, I feel like what it's doing is just using like micro delays to make something appear like it's over here or behind you or whatever. But they're not actually like, you don't have an ear on the back of your head or the front of your head, right? So they're using tiny time delays to make your brain think something is, spatially far or close away. Vamp says, there's a really good article I'll have to send you. It shows solid comparison for flat signal for production. Those seem more consumer grade. I use the V-Mode Crossfader 2 with codec for DJing. Yeah, and like I think the V-Modas are I personally like these Audio-Technicas the best. I was also like, my ear was trained on Audio-Technica headphones, and I'm more adapted to those. But I've listened to V-Moda headphones, and I'm like, I can see why people like this, especially the open back ones. Open backs are way easier on your ear. You can produce longer, right? Your ear fatigue will not set in as quickly. So that's like, if you're getting noise canceling headphones, they're closed back. They're putting a vacuum seal over your ear to give you the most uninterrupted sound, so no air or sound or anything can get through that, right? Even on the transparency mode, it's still closed back headphones with probably microphones or something on the side, sending that outer signal in. But yeah, no, I think they seem like really, really good headphones. I definitely want to try them out. I think they would be good for DJing, on the go stuff. But yeah, I appreciate everyone tuning in. I'm probably going to get out of here. My wife's going to be home from work soon. So we're doing the studio stream tomorrow at 9 p.m. And then next week, 4 p.m. on Mondays, 9 p.m., 4 p.m. Eastern on Mondays, 9 p.m. Eastern on Tuesdays. Come talk creative, watch me make some music, ask questions. We're kind of just piddling around. It's a good excuse for me to work on music a lot of the times. So yeah, I appreciate everyone for tuning in. I think I'm going to get out of here and get ready for my wife to get home. I'll catch y'all next time, man. Peace.